gosh.
Okay.
Hi guys, it's Haley.
Hello, and Liz. How are you guys?
Yes, how are you doing today? Liz, this is my special request video. I said, Liz, we have to start talking about some of your mended clothing.
Oh my gosh. I know. So and I told Haley, I go, sometimes it's mended and sometimes it's just sort of attacked.
Yes, we've also thrown out words like personalized, embellished, but it's so much more than that. It's really like transforming through art stitching.
Yeah, it's something about telling, to me it's something about like taking your story and putting it in, injecting it into your clothing.
But it's also infusing it with what's already there, because you use a lot of found clothing.
I do. I
this
do.
This is one.
Yeah. Okay. So this is one I have that. This is a thrifted sweatshirt that I just caught my eye because I loved the color, but it's also like when I touched it, it's super soft.
It is super soft.
I thrifted the sweatshirt, and then I had a friend that gave me all of these yo-yos.
We talked about the yo-yos.
Yeah, we talked about the yo-yos. You guys know about the yo-yos. Well, in the yo-yos, this shape already existed. They were already stitched together. So I had this clump of yo-yos. And all of a sudden, I was looking at the sweatshirt one day, and I just noticed everything was radiating out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I'm like, I'm going to put the clump of yo-yos
two ways, and you put them together.
I put them together. Yep, and then I just blanket stitched all the way around each yo-yo.
Yeah, I'll get a close.
Yeah, we'll get a
close
close
up
up.
after.
And then that, so they become pretty like adhered to the garment.
Yeah, it's like a big patch.
It is like a giant patch.
But they're also like, when you were showing it before, they look so much more sculptural, but you've really flattened them down to make this usable.
Yeah.
You can now like wash this.
Yes, I can wash this and wear.
It's not going to get caught on stuff.
No, that is a thing you have to be really careful of.
Utility to what you're doing.
Yes.
Like the collage aspect and the putting things together is actually, we just did a video where I said we're doing very different things. But we're actually
doing a lot.
We're doing a lot of the same things.
Yeah.
I think the key difference is you're making things to use.
That's true. Yeah. These, I am conscious of that. Like when I'm stitching on other things, you know, that are going to go on a wall, Haley and I talked about this, you don't have to worry about like, is your finger going to catch in this? And can you wash it? Can you do all these things?
Yeah.
So, okay, so we have...
I'm going to grab the camera, so you guys hold on.
Okay, Haley's going to grab the camera.
Back on the other side of the camera.
Okay.
So
these are my latest jeans.
Yes, you have a whole collection of jeans.
And I
lovely.
have a huge hole here. It kind of started out as like a fun little hole, and I thrifted these jeans. I'm addicted to these certain type of Levi's. Yes. And my daughter gave me a card that had this sardine kind of image on it that I loved and I wanted to incorporate. And then the more I worked with the jeans, the more I realized I already have like another pair in my mind that I want to do. These feel really blocky to me. So I have a different version I want to do. But I did feel all the places they were soft and they were, you know, I was going to need to patch.
So it was a bit of mending.
Yeah, a bit of mending. There was a hole over here, so this was mended. And then, you know, the yo-yos I'm addicted to. Yeah. And then this, I have to touch on this. We lost our friends Christine and Spencer in an accident recently, and the day I found out, I was stitching on these jeans in the car, so I just did this very kind of subtly up here where I know it's there, and I don't have to, other people.
When you're doing your stitching, I think I remember on this one, you hand drew all this out and then you stitched it.
So what I do is, a lot of times I don't use any pattern or anything, but for something like this, what I did was I hand drew it. Yep. And I use, it's a sulky product, a sulky solvy product, and you put what you want. It almost looks like cling film, and you can see I haven't washed it yet. So if you can catch this little sheen,
there's a little sheen.
That's what it looks like. Yep.
So then you like tear it away. Almost.
Yes. So I based it on, and then because you've used a Sharpie, it adheres to the sulky solvy, and then you put it in water, and it's made out of like cornstarch or something.
You probably didn't.
And this I just put on. I just wrote it with a
very, very impressive that you can just stitch. I mean,
I did write it in a
little hard to see here, but
it is.
You can clearly read those letters. They're very small.
They're very small.
But
I didn't want it to scream.
Yeah, you're an accomplished stitcher, so it's just impressive to see.
So that's, and there's a little on the back. I realized that, you know, there was a hole here, so we did that, and there was a hole down here, so I did that. Yeah, and then I'm looking over here. I'm like, here are more holes,
but you can
that's
add
the
to
thing.
it.
You just add to it, and it's a work in progress.
Yeah,
And so then, like, we talk about being usable. So then these would need to be, like, when I wash them, I turn them inside out.
Sure.
Wash them in cold. And then these I would put on a light dryer because everything's pretty much cotton. There's nothing wool. But
yeah, so making sure that you're using the right materials.
Yes, you need to use the right materials. Or adjust how you're taking care of them. So, okay, there's that. This is actually the first pair of jeans I ever did.
Every time you wear these, I get so excited.
And then, let me
They've just been things added to them.
Yeah, I know. I keep,
years.
These are, and it's so funny, I look and I'm like, oh, I need to do, like, that stitch and this stitch. And this, I love how much, these have so much more movement.
They're
if you notice,
like all over.
Yeah,
stitching.
the last pair, and I kind of love that as well. And I like to, a lot of people when they do mending cut away the fringe and the excess, and I like to incorporate it into my design. So, these are all the things I love. Really just super easy stitches.
You just follow your intuition.
Yeah, lots of blanket stitch, lots of French knots, lots of, chain stitch and running stitch and straight stitch.
Lots of drawing.
Yeah.
You do a lot of drawing.
I don't even think I drew any of this first. I think it all just came out.
Yep.
And this is, I love these little owls. I don't normally incorporate something from a fabric, but I love those. There was a hole here, so I did that. I had this ribbon. I don't even really like that, but I just added it, and then that, of course, then became something on the back.
Yeah, flip them over.
I'll flip them over.
Oh wow, there's a lot on the back.
Yeah, it turned into this on the back. These are, I feel like, a lot more collage-like and very introspective, and you can see, like I put it on the cuff. But of course, they ended up being a little longer than I like, so I end up cuffing it again. But yeah, so that's those.
Yeah. So fantastic.
It's just so fun. You just kind of sit and let things come out. Those were a lot less planned than the other ones. And then this is a shirt I had, and this goes back to the yo-yos. And you guys have seen this one before, but I always thought it almost looked like a military shirt.
That
before.
color.
Yeah, I had some found buttons that to me looked very militant, ribbons. So this is, again, just, taking what I had, responding to the garment.
Yep.
And adding to it. And again, this would be, you can, wash it inside out and cold. Let's see. This one is my current one. I literally wore this shirt home on the airplane in California, as I headed home.
Yeah.
And I needed a project while I was there. And I'm kind of obsessed with tattoo art. And I love how you can translate it into stitched art.
Yeah.
So I just thought, I want to do something that instead of looking like a super, almost like Sailor Jerry, really heavy tattoo that I love, I want all like one of those micro tattoos. It started out way more micro, and of course I beefed it up, adding more to it. But that was the starting point.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this shirt. It is pretty gross and dirty now that I look
Oh,
at it. It's just old and
doesn't-
used.
yeah,
I'm like,
it's
nobody
just
look at the pits.
Well loved.
So I took images from the California flag and just kind of moved them, around the shirt. Here's the star. 101 is the
even I've heard of that.
Yeah, that runs through my hometown. It's also
101.
my roller derby number. Now this, I did this really erratic rice stitch. That is actually wool yarn.
Okay, yep.
So this is kind of an experimental piece.
Yep.
This was, like I said, an old shirt that I will continue to wear, but we'll see what happens with that.
It's for you, though.
It's for me. So I'll have to wash this in cold,
Yep.
on gentle, and hang dry, and be careful.
Yeah.
Maybe steam that when it's partially.
Sure.
And then on the back, just adding some lettering that, again, like, I drew out. I'm kind of like not... Unless it's something like the bear, I really wanted the bear to look like the flag. So I did trace that image with the sulky sulby. I used tracing paper and then traced it.
So sometimes you do, sometimes it's more
Yeah,
freeform.
sometimes it's more freeform. So if I'm making letters, I just want them to be in my own hand. And they're a little wonky and they're a little all over the place.
It reminds me so much of your freedom quilt.
It does.
Of the
This
colors.
does remind me of my freedom.
And I don't know if there's any overlapping of fabrics, but the colors.
I don't think there
that
are.
orange, red on a light, really cool
That's
blue.
True. Yeah, it did. I did have that in my mind. This one might be in the freedom quilt, but I don't think it is.
Yeah,
I
it's
can't
just
remember.
it's the feeling of it.
It
though.
has that feeling.
Yeah. And I feel like it's looking at all of your garments that you've done this to, you've altered in this way. Like, it's such a style. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna move back so I can see you in the frame, but
I'm good. I hope you
yeah.
can hear my voice.
I think so.
Yeah, I think, and I have others in the works. So you know, they're coming. They're. It's like not only just ideas, but garments are in different stages. But I brought those with me today, and I don't know. I just love it.
Do you think you've been influenced by your work you did at the Flea?
I mean,
thinking of like the
I do think you're
repurposing.
influenced by things you do. So I won't say I don't think so. I do think I am influenced by that. But I feel like, you know, those first jeans were like a pandemic project. You know,
yeah,
for me, it's almost
time.
more about like a little journey, a little stress relief, a little. And I like to have something tangible at the end that I can use.
Yeah.
I'm not a big like hanging on the wall kind of person, so I'll just hang it on my body. And
Yeah, well, it combines a lot of really useful skills.
I have to say, one of the things that happens when I wear these out is I get a lot of comments. I get a lot of questions. I get a lot of how do you do it? What do you do? So I've decided to do. I'm going to do an online tutorial class on kind of how to go about doing this.
You hear that, guys?
And it'll be like way more
Online.
in depth than what we do on the videos.
Yeah.
So we will put a link to that class so that you can look at that.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And just get ideas from each other. That's another great thing. I think being in a class, an in-person class is great, but I know a lot of you guys don't live in Rhode Island, so we will do it online to make it accessible. But yeah, I think it's really fun.
Yeah,
it is. I'm laughing because it is really similar to what you're doing on the wall, I think.
It's really, I just got through saying how, like, we've diverged. We're doing our own thing and following but we are so influenced by each other.
Yeah.
But I'm very excited to hear that you're going to be doing a class.
I know. I'm going to be doing a class because I am making some to sell, actually pieces to sell. But, I can't put this kind of detail into those pieces.
Right.
So, this would be a way that if you liked that look, you could do, you could add more. You can go crazy.
Oh, fantastic. Well, we will be sure to post all that info.
Great.
And let us know what you guys think. Let us know feedback. And have you ever made a kind of a artistic garment like this?
Remember when you were kids and your mom would put like patches on your jeans, those iron-on ones, and you'd be like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. You don't have to do that now. You can do that.
You can do that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or Tough Skins used to have. I'm dating myself, but they used to sell these jeans and the patches were already sewn on.
Really?
But in the inside,
really,
maybe they were ironed on. But it was like to keep you from getting holes in your
wearing
jeans.
them out. It would wear out the patch instead. Oh my gosh, no, I don't remember those.
Now you're gonna be looking. I'm already looking at the shirt as I was like, oh my God, I need to stitch over that and stitch over this. So that'll be. It's nice to have something going all the time.
And when you're because you've said that a couple times, like, oh, there's this spot on here, and I'm like, I can't see, but you're like literally examining up close, like every single fiber of what's going on. So
I do.
I think that you see a lot more than
and I feel
the
like
naked eye.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks, Liz.
Thank you. Bye, guys.